Good morning. Welcome to the Manchester Memorial Firefighters Memorial Garden. The garden was started immediately following 9/11. This is a work of heart by Hatch Odell, who had the vision and the help of many others to build the Memorial Garden. I would encourage you after our brief ceremony that you take some time and look around a little bit and get to see some of the other noble men and women who have been paid tribute in the garden. So this is the 18th anniversary of September 11, 2001 attacks. It's a National Day of Service and Remembrance. And most of us still remember exactly what we were doing when the attacks occurred that morning. And these events were so life-changing for everyone in the country, even on the planet, because foreign terrorism had actually struck the American homeland, and this had not happened before, and we really were not prepared for it. Just for some perspective, a little trouble hearing me. All right. Just for some perspective, anyone who graduated from high school earlier this year or younger were not alive at the time of the attacks. So gives you a little bit of a perspective as to how long ago this occurred. But it's important that we gather each year to remember those who died in the terrorist attacks. And remember the catastrophic events at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and in the air over Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We pay tribute to the 2,977 people who lost their lives and thousands of families who lost loved ones, and we will never forget them. Among the deceased at the World Trade Center were 343 FDNY firefighters and 60 police officers who gave their lives attempting to save the lives of others. The names of those individuals are here on the stone beside me. You can take a look at that after the ceremony. So I can only imagine what it must have been like as a firefighter there that morning. Yeah. And so as a firefighter, as you come up onto the scene, first thing you want to do is kind of get a little bit of situational awareness. You want to understand what's happening. So as a firefighter, you're standing there looking up. There are remnants of two airliners hanging out of both towers. Both towers are on fire. And you're really uncertain what's coming next. And firefighters always live with the possibility of injury or death. It's just part of the occupation. And so for the firefighters there at Ground Zero, they had to be wondering, would this be the incident that took their lives? Could anyone survive this type of disaster? And this is really where I'd like to point out that these firefighters exemplified exactly what courage is all about. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Any of us who don't feel fear are reckless, foolish, or just don't understand the actual severity of the danger that's present. But rather, true courage is recognizing the danger that you face, feeling that uncertainty in your gut, and then going up those stairs anyway because it's your call of duty. There were civilians in harm's way, and those firefighters were their best hope. It was a valiant rescue effort, and thousands of survivors are alive to tell their stories about the heroes who helped them escape. We gather each year to acknowledge the bravery and sacrifice of those brothers and sisters. We also remember the more than 2,000 rescuers working at Ground Zero who have since died from exposure to the hazardous materials at the site. Just this past summer, Congress voted to continue the funding for medical coverage for these first responders. We are grateful for the sacrifice of the thousands of our young men and women in the military who have died combating terrorism over the past 18 years. The war on terrorism continues both domestically and abroad, so we must always be vigilant wherever we are. As long as hate exists in the world, good people will have to stand against it. We only contribute to the problem when we are silent observers. Edmund Burke said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." So we're here to honor the memories of those who died on September 11th. And what better way to honor their lives but to vow that from this moment forward, each of us will raise our voices against hate wherever and whenever we meet it. Evil certainly does exist in our world, and only the force of a united and enduring American spirit will overcome it. So, as you might be familiar, there's a series of bells in each firehouse, and those bells are used to send out codes that tell the firefighters the location of the call that they're being dispatched to. Those same set of bells are also used to send out a special code, a signal 555, which indicates the death of a firefighter. And this is universally known as the tolling of the bells. It's a sign of honor and respect for those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So in respect to the 343 fallen firefighters, we'll now have the tolling of the bells by retired firefighter Hatch Odell. So our piper this morning is firefighter Paul Peterson. I'd like to just finish with a prayer for world peace that I found written in 1978. Author is unknown, but unfortunately the sentiment is as true today in 2019 as it was when this was written in 78. We pray for the power to be gentle, the strength to be forgiving, the patience to be understanding, and the endurance to accept the consequences of holding on to what we believe to be right. May we put our trust in the power of good to overcome evil, and the power of love to overcome hatred. We pray for the vision to see and the faith to believe in a world emancipated from violence. A new world where fear shall no longer lead men or women to commit injustice, nor selfishness make them bring suffering to others. Help us to devote our whole life and thought and energy to the task of making peace, praying always for the inspiration and the power to fulfill the destiny for which we and all men and women were created. That concludes our brief ceremonies this morning. We're very happy that you've chosen to join us this morning. We have refreshments inside the firehouse. We'd like for you to invite you to come in and share those refreshments, and also take a little time to look around the garden. And our master gardener here, Hatch Odell, will be happy to answer any questions while he's here. Thank you very much.
thing.